Let me point out something else that Mamata Banerjee said in that letter of the 24th, which is even worse. It's bad enough that she claimed that she could get vaccines that weren't available. It's bad enough that she believed that manufacturers would sell to state governments when it was clear they wouldn't. What was even worse is that she demanded universal vaccination for everyone over 80. Now, at a time when we didn't have enough vaccines for people over 60, leave aside over 45, by demanding it be given to the age group 18 to 44, which is 600 million more, she was making a bad situation hugely worse.
Karan, I genuinely believe, I'm surprised at your line of questioning, and it's great that you want to put the opposition on the mat, but I genuinely believe that with a question like this, your audience is going to have a field day, because they're going to be like,
but that's
what
not
is
answering
wrong?
my question.
No, I'm going
answer
to
my question.
I will answer
How
your
can
question.
you demand that vaccination be given to the 18 and 44-year-olds when you don't have enough?
One second,
and you're making a bad situation worse?
1 second. Excuse me, Karan. You're coming to the state government for answers when the problem has been of... Now, please let me finish. When the problem has been of the central government's making. Every single civilized country in the world, be it Canada, be it the UK, be it the European countries, be it the US, way back in 2020 said, this is our population which needs to be vaccinated. In India, it was, please let me hear me out. Please hear me out.
I'm not even interrupting.
No, that's fine.
But
the gesturing is throwing me off. So let me finish. It is definitely that we needed a population that needs to be vaccinated.
No one denies
yes,
it.
1 second.
No one denies
1 second.
it.
So when we needed to vaccinate it, the central government missed the boat on procurement.
No,
right?
but we're not talking about procurement. We're talking about ages
yes,
now.
but definitely. So we needed universal free vaccination.
Everyone says you do, but you have to go through it in stages.
But,
There's not a country in the world that gave it to 18-year-olds when we did.
Yes, 1 second. The government of India, when it came out with their frontline workers on the 16th of January, when the government opened it out, the pace at which the central government was doing its vaccination, it would have taken, hear me out, would have taken a total
have enough vaccines.
But that's not our fault. That's something that they messed up on.
You're missing the whole point.
No, I'm not missing the whole point.
Let me finish and then you'll understand. You accept that they didn't have enough vaccines. You just did. It's because they didn't have enough vaccines that the pace was slow. Now, when they don't have enough vaccines for 60-year-olds, they certainly don't for 45-year-olds. At that point, to put pressure that they should include 80-year-olds, and that's 600 million people more, you're making a bad situation incomparably
not at all, not at all. The idea was at that point to go in and say that the third wave is coming in. There are, unlike, please hear me out.
Unlike in
28, and the second wave, sorry, the second wave.
There was no second wave.
Yes, there was. We didn't even know about it. Of course it was. In February,
but if you didn't know about it, how can you claim it was happening?
In February 2020, February 24th, we were perfectly aware. There were signs all around. Other countries had already been affected by the second wave. We all knew it was only a matter of time before it was coming here. It was only Mr. Modi and the rest of his bureaucrats that were blindsided to this. Everybody else was aware of this, number one. The second thing is
I have to dispute that.
Not at all.
And point out to the audience that you're claiming with hindsight a knowledge that wasn't available at the time.
Well, that's not true at all. Everyone, every single person with half a mind knew at the end of February it was a matter of time that the second wave was going to hit India. First. The second thing was the question, the Modi government was functioning at a pace that was known, the reasons for which were known only to them. Hear me out. Even if they were to prioritize over 60s, they only ordered 11 million doses. The point was
but
that
none of that answers the question I asked. Why introduce 600 million people
because we wanted
when you don't have enough vaccines?
Because we wanted this Indian government to go out there and say, you know what, we need to buy from foreign manufacturers.
Do you know what the head of NTAGI, Dr. N.K. Arora, said to me? He said it was a mistake to introduce the vaccinations to the 18-44-year-old group because we didn't have them.
Because
let me finish. We did it before any other country in the world did. Number three, every country in the world gave it in a graded way from the elderly to the next lot to the next. India, under pressure from your chief minister and other chief ministers, was suddenly forced to jump. And this is another error that the pressure brought by Mamata Banerjee made the government make. I don't deny that Mr. Modi made the error, but it happened under pressure and that pressure was wrong.
Karan, Mr. Modi and the BJP do not come under pressure from anybody. Let me lay out three things very clearly. Universal free vaccination is a right of every Indian. Number one, It is not the
But
state.
not
Let me
at
finish.
one go
Please
when
let
you don't
me
have the
finish.
vaccine.
Please let me finish. Every single government in the world, be it the UK, be it the US, be it the Canada, when they're talking about planning for the future, they don't plan that they will only vaccinate over 60-year-olds. Please let me finish. The way the Indian government did.
No, the Indian government
yes,
didn't.
they did.
You're
Yes, they did.
You're
Not at all.
misrepresenting
No,
the
I
Indian
am not
government.
misrepresenting.
The Indian government made it clear we're starting with health
No,
workers, then
one
frontline
second, they
workers, then
didn't
over
have-
60,
they did not-
and gradually it
By
will come to
February
everyone else.
24th, the state governments were not even given enough to vaccinate over 60s.
Then why suddenly include 80
Because we
year olds?
said that for now
you're contradicting
not at
yourself.
all. I'm not contradicting. We are just saying that listen, you are relying only on the Serum Institute and on Bharat Bio vaccine to fulfill it. Please go out there, do whatever it takes. Talk to Moderna, talk to Pfizer,
Yes.
talk to
That
whoever
what-
it takes, and plan on universal
But
free vaccination.
talking to everyone would help you get sufficient vaccines for
Yes.
the over 60-year-olds. Don't at that point suddenly insist 18-year-olds
No,
have to come in.
no, one
You
second.
brought in 600 million people.
We didn't bring
when
it
we
in.
You did under pressure from you. It
No,
happened.
we didn't do this. Who is this pressure under? This pressure is under pressure from your own children, from my children. Who is the pressure under? The Indian population. There was a huge risk to the population of this time. The second wave has hit people disproportionately between the ages of 30 to 50.
Can I
right?
stop you there? Other countries have had second and third waves. India
Yes.
hasn't had a third wave. In other countries, the third was often
Yes.
worse than the second.
Yeah.
In America and in Britain, just to take those two examples, when the second wave hit and the third wave hit, the age of population which wasn't being vaccinated did not begin to put pressure on the government and say, there's a second wave, there's a third, please jump the line and vaccinate us.
Nobody asked them to.
Mamata Banerjee did precisely that.
Mamata Banerjee did what the central government should have done on day one, which is plan on having a universal free vaccination for all Indians, should have put in an order and planned on procuring 1 billion vaccines right in 2020, and as those came in phases,
Yeah, but-
because hear me out, because no
given that
manufacturer,
hadn't been done,
given that hadn't been done,
forcing him to bring in
one
the
second,
18-year-old at the
nobody-
wrong
okay,
time makes a
nobody,
bad
Karan,
problem
you're
worse.
trying to make me laugh. This is Prime Minister Modi who walked out on your own interview. Nobody can force Modi to do anything. This is very conveniently played into him. This is very conveniently played into his story. The central government failed spectacularly at every stage of the vaccination process, and it is now trying to deflect the blame on the state government.
Let me put it like this, and I'm summing up.
Yeah.
Chief ministers, prime amongst which was your chief minister Mamata Banerjee, made political and what I call unrealistic demands. Mr. Modi's mistake was that instead of standing up for what he was doing, which was the right thing in the right way, he actually caved in. Now, he made a mistake buckling under your pressure, but I'm pointing out to you that to put that pressure when India was going through the worst imaginable surge, remember, we hit 414 cases a day, to put that political pressure raising unrealistic demands when we are going through the worst surge was a terrible mistake. You pushed the Prime Minister into making a mistake. It's his mistake, I don't deny it. He erred hugely. But you pushed him into it, and you shouldn't have. At that point, you should have been supporting him rather than pushing him into error.